Do you remember this meme?
Fuck two and spit on that thing.
A random street interview that led to brand deals, a podcast, and even somehow a cryptocurrency. Yes, even this girl launched her own coin, and almost immediately people started calling it another pump and dump, which honestly should tell you everything about the world that we live in right now. Because in the past, if you wanted to scam people in the financial markets, you needed a trading floor, aggressive salesmen, and a phone book with wealthy contacts. That was at least the world of Jordan Belfort, of the real Wolf of Wall Street, with his penny stocks and the pump and dump scheme. But today, the trading floor has been replaced by TikToks and viral memes. The IPO pump and dump of the Wolf of Wall Street days has turned into the initial coin offering, with meme coins and NFTs being the equivalent of penny stocks. Different names but the same trick. Basically, create something with no real value, attach a famous face to it, convince fans they are early, then sell at the top, and the people who trusted the celebrity, they lose. Even Jordan Belfort himself has publicly called ICOs the biggest scam ever. So if one of history's biggest financial scammers is warning you of this, then the least you can do is listen to him. So in this video, let's talk about the celebrities and influencers who turn their audiences into exit liquidity. And let's start with one of the most famous examples, Kim Kardashian. In June 2021, at the absolute peak of the crypto craze, Kim Kardashian posted an Instagram story promoting a token called Ethereum Max. Not the classic Ethereum, but Ethereum Max. And this is a very important distinction. And she wrote,
"Are you guys into crypto? This is not financial advice, but sharing what my friends just told me about the Ethereum Max token."
Now, the thing is that when someone says my friends, that sounds casual and innocent, like a recommendation, like someone just discovered something interesting and wanted to share it. But when someone famous like Kim Kardashian says it, it means she has been paid. And according to reports, around $250,000 for one Instagram story. And yes, she did include hashtag ad, but with financial promotions, that is just not enough. Because when you're promoting a security or investment product, you need to disclose not only that you were paid, but also how much you were paid. And that missing detail cost her a lot. In 2022, the SEC charged Kim Kardashian and she agreed to pay $1.26 million to settle the case. Now, the thing is that for someone like Kim, that amount is probably not life-changing, but for her followers, the damage was very real. Ethereum Max had the classic pattern of massive hype enhanced by celebrity promotion, followed by huge attention and then the eventual collapse. And the most disturbing part is that Kim Kardashian has hundreds of millions of followers, and many of them follow her for beauty or reality TV stuff, not particularly because they are experts in something like blockchain technology, for example. The next case is even darker, because it involves someone who built his entire career on being relatable to young fans, Logan Paul. In 2021, Logan Paul launched Crypto Zoo, a project he described as a game where users could hatch eggs, breed animals, and potentially even make money. It was pitched as the typical fun and family-friendly game, and above all, it was pitched as profitable. But a game that allows you to make money should honestly make anyone nervous. And this is so terrible because it's like disguising an investment as entertainment. And Crypto Zoo had all the ingredients to be the perfect hype machine, such as combining NFTs and passive income with gaming and cute animals. And with Logan Paul's massive audience, most of the kids were very easy to manipulate. People bought in because they trusted him. They believed that because Logan was involved, the project had to be serious. Some fans even borrowed money and invested thousands of dollars with them. But then the game never properly materialized. The NFTs existed and the money was collected, yes, but the promised product? It was never delivered in the way fans have been promised. After CoffeeZilla investigated the project, Logan Paul went into damage control mode. At first, he attacked anyone who accused him. Then, he apologized. And finally, he promised a refund plan. But the reputational damage was already done. And Crypto Zoo was not just another failed startup, because a failed startup usually fails due to running out of money or market demand being weak. But Crypto Zoo was different because the audience were ordinary fans rather than the traditional venture capitalists.
Yeah, I mean, he had this team of a few guys they didn't do much vetting into, and some of them turned out to be criminals.
And unfortunately, these fans believe they were joining something great created by someone they admired. And that brings us to his brother, Jake Paul. Because if Logan Paul became infamous for Crypto Zoo, Jake Paul became infamous for several different scams. He has been connected to multiple crypto and NFT promotions. The problem is not that just one project failed, because to be honest, many projects failed in this world. The real problem is that many projects which he hyped all failed in a suspicious suspicious pump and dump way.
Jake Paul got his fans into buying these sacred devils, and they suffered near total losses. He also funded another NFT scam from this wallet, this time his own project called Stick Dicks.
Jake Paul was also charged by the SEC in relation to the promotion of crypto assets connected to Tronix and BitTorrent, because he did not properly disclose that he had been paid. And this is a key theme. These celebrities often say,
"Oh, this is not financial advice."
but that phrase is not magic. You cannot sell people financial products, get paid behind the scenes, influence the market with your fame, and then hide behind not financial advice. That is like a doctor selling pills on Instagram and saying this is not medical advice. It simply doesn't work like that. But perhaps the most morally disgusting examples are the ones that pretend to be charitable. One of the biggest influencer crypto scandals was called Save the Kids.
And I support Save the Kids token.
The name itself was genius in the worst possible way. Because who is going to question something called Save the Kids? The project claimed to redistribute wealth to holders and charities. It was presented as a way to make money while supporting a good cause. But in reality, it became another disaster. The token was promoted by influencers connected to FaZe Clan, an esports company, including FaZe K, Jarvis, Nikan, and others, as well as RiceGum. These guys were online creators with young, extremely loyal fanbases. And that is what makes this one so ugly. Because a lot of their audience were teenagers, young people who may not understand or even bother to research the most simple terms like wallet distributions or vesting schedules, for example. They just see their favorite creator saying, "This is good, this is early, this is charitable, and this is going to the moon," and then they buy, while then the insiders sell and profit from them. The project supposedly included protections against whales dumping huge amounts of tokens, but according to investigations, those same protections were changed shortly before they launched. And this allowed large holders to sell whatever amount they wanted. Within a short period, the token collapsed. FaZe K was removed from FaZe Clan and many others were suspended, but even with all their apologies, the real victims were the fans once again. Then there is the case of Tana Mojo. Her case almost feels like parody, because she promoted a token called Titscoin, which at first claimed to be connected to breast cancer awareness, and that seemed like a noble idea. But in one post, she suggested that her ownership in the coin had helped her to buy a Rolls Royce. Think about that for a moment. A crypto token supposedly connected to fighting cancer was being promoted through flexing a luxury lifestyle. But anyways, that is the exact recurring emotional formula that these scams use. Charity plus greed, compassion plus the fear of missing out. They say, "Oh, you're helping people and you might get rich." And that is just so manipulative because it's like them giving people moral permission to speculate. They convince you that you're not gambling, but rather supporting a good cause. But when the price collapses, suddenly the good cause disappears. The influencer deletes the post and the ordinary buyer is left with nothing. Adin Ross was even more unashamed. He promoted a token called MILF token, and later on a stream seemed to laugh about the fact that he had been paid to promote it. He basically told his audience that he hoped they did not actually buy it, and that one moment revealed the psychology behind many of his promotions. Because these so-called influencers basically do not see their audience as real people. They merely see them as a bank account, as something to extract from and become rich. And this is utterly disgusting in my opinion. And when things go wrong, they use the same excuses every time, like,
"Oh, I didn't know, I was misled, I never sold, it was just a joke, I told people not to invest, it was not financial advice,"
etc, etc. But here the problem is that when you are famous, your words move markets, whether you like it or not. And that is the entire reason these companies pay celebrities in the first place. Nobody's paying Kim Kardashian hundreds of thousands of dollars because she understands something niche like blockchain infrastructure. They pay her because she can make millions if people look at something she does. Nobody cares if a random account tweets about a meme coin, but if the Paul brothers or a viral internet celebrity does it, suddenly the project has credibility. It's not real sustained credibility, however. It's more like borrowed credibility, but sometimes that is enough to make the price move. The hook to a coin is just a more ordinary version of this same machine where a person becomes a meme. The meme then becomes a brand and a podcast, and that becomes a business. And eventually someone says, "Why not launch a coin?" By this point we have seen the ending so many times that it's almost boring, but people still fall for it. The chart spikes, the insiders profit, the public gets wrecked, and then everyone posts online and pretends the launch didn't go smoothly. But it did go smoothly, just not for the buyers. It went smoothly for the people who knew how the game worked, and that is the real lesson. Most people who buy these coins think they are early, but they're not. Only the insiders were early. By the time the average fan sees the Instagram story, they are becoming the opportunity. That is why celebrity crypto scams are so dangerous. They do not look like scams at first. They look like memes or entertainment, but underneath the jokes, you are the one being scammed. So the next time you see a celebrity promoting a coin, ask yourself one question. Why are they telling me? Because if this was really a guaranteed path to wealth, would they need you to buy it? Or are you just the person they need in order to cash out? Jordan Belfort used phones. Celebrities used followers. The technology has changed, but the scam has not.